Hey everyone! I think we're live. Yes, we are. Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining me today. I'm going to talk about like pitch improvements. So that's the title of this talk: Game Level Up Pitch Improvements. My name is Margarita Pino. I'm from Chile, so I will take these very last seconds, like few seconds before starting to request if you have any means to donate to the fires that we're going through in Chile right now. Please search for it. I have them on my LinkedIn, on my profile. I will leave them in LinkedIn after the talk. So if you want to check that out, I would really appreciate it. So to start, I will tell you a little bit about me. As I said, I'm from Chile, and I apologize in advance for all of my speaking issues, I guess. So if you don't understand something, if I talk too fast or if my accent is a bit weird, let me know and I will just go back and try to explain better. I'm a business developer right now in the Powell Group, and we also do indie game business. I'm not sure if you have heard of it. We have a podcast, we have a Discord with a lot of community in there. Um, we do a lot of things actually. So if you are interested, our next indie game business sessions are on February. You should check them out if you are looking to get into the business of video games. It's free, so take advantage of them. I have done scouting for investors. I used to work in a place where we invest in video games. So I have evaluated games. I have evaluated pitch. I have done a lot of things around game development. I have been a producer and a project manager. Sorry. And also, I'm a table board game author from the a game called Tough Calls Dystopia, and this is like a voting game, maybe more narrative kind of game. If you like role playing, you will like this game. And so, yeah, there's that. Also, I do government. Um, it says jury, but here we have government funds and people that works in the video game industry can make submissions to get money from our government. So if you are in a country outside of the US, you should check out if you have like government help for building video games. And I am one of the government juries for those kind of funds. Here, at least I have been called like 3 4 times. So I have been able to review a lot of games thanks to that, which is amazing. And actually, I started as a graphic designer. That's my actual career. My degree is in graphic design and communications. So I work in graphic design, marketing, and a lot of those kinds of stuff before coming into the games industry. I also am a community manager, not the best community manager, but a community manager from a community that's called Game Dev Planet. And we do talks every month, like at the starting of every month, related to the video games industry. This is a community thing, and we do it here in Chile, in Santiago. And finally, I'm also one of the global producers of Women Game Jam, representing Chile. And Women Game Jam is a jam that we do in August usually, and is aimed to bring more women and unrepresented people to the games industry in a more easy way, like not so hard, like to crash into a wall when you're starting. We have a lot of people helping, a lot of voluntaries and mentors and many people in the industry being part of the Women Game Jam. And we also make a lot of connections. For me, the most important thing in this jam is making a connection with someone that can become a business partner. We have seen companies coming out of the jam, so amazing, and we made a lot of friends. So if you really enjoyed Global Game Jam, maybe Women Game Jam is also something that you can enjoy. And as I said, this is in August, so if you want to check that out, you can also hit me. By the end of the talk, I will leave all of my contacts, so you can ask there, like information or whatever. So basics. If you haven't built a pitch before, there's like a basic. I always forget that my headphones turn off when they don't feel like that something is sounding. So sorry about that. If I mute myself, I really appreciate it. Someone tells me so I don't speaking alone or like just moving my mouth. Anyway, so the structure, there is like a lot of different structures where you can do a pitch, but they are basically kind of the same, or they are pretty similar in between them. So if you can make around 10 slides, that will be perfect. But if you cannot make 10 slides of content, then only add the important and relevant information. People that do scouting or that always are looking for games usually review a lot of games, like a lot of them. Like I know that the big publishers receive around 7,000 games a year. So yeah, you are competing against other 4,999 games or more. That's more or less when like a big indie publisher gets. Others don't get that much, but still, when you do scouting, you review a lot of games during your day. You do a lot of game evaluations. So you are not only competing with the successful games that you know of, you are competing with the ones that you don't know of. So it's very, very important that you keep all of the information very condensed and very specific. Um, an elevator pitch, if you don't know what it is, when you go into an elevator and you talk to someone about your game in 2-3 minutes, it's an elevator pitch. And you should be able to do it at any space. Like if you are talking with a friend, if you're talking with a family, if you're talking with new people, you should be able to say, my game is this amazing game about crocodiles that want to, I don't know, save the world of sharks. And I always invent games in this part of the talk. Sorry. Um, I should come up with something better. But of course, your game will be better than that. And so you will have to be able to say what it is and how will you play it in like a very short sentence. It should define the game quickly and it should be unforgettable. Like, oh my God, a game about sharks and crocodiles. That's interesting. Or a game where you can, I don't know, go to space and fight aliens and not generic in this kind of way. You know, like something where you see people is remembering you and remembering your game just because of that catchphrase. If you think of the successful games, I'm playing a lot of Cult of the Lamp right now. So for me, it's like, oh yeah, I'm playing this game about this cult where you gather your cult and you go to dungeons and fight with uh, other cultists, I guess. And then you keep growing your cult and you have your farm and you have cooking and you like, I don't know. I can explain it like maybe in 2 minutes or so, and that's enough for people to remember the game or remember that I talk about the game, so they can come back and tell me, "Hey, what was the game that you talk again?" And I can share with them all of the information. So tech and basics. So this serves as a reminder for those who have heard the pitch before and provides the crucial game facts for those who haven't. Usually, when you are scouting, you don't really always see all of the meetings or you don't have all of the information that you would have in a pitch meeting. In a pitch meeting, you as a developer, you could say so many things behind the screen. Like right now, I'm talking a lot and not reading all of what I'm saying is that same feeling. Like you are saying a lot of things that are not there. So it's important that you put there all of the basic information, all of the game genre, the estimated gameplay, expected launch platforms, and the dev engine. Why is this important? Because some developers or some publishers or investors are investing in some platforms or they prefer to work with one platform specific or they want to know how many playtime it is and if the playtime and the game time is matching with the amount of investment. And why is that important? Because if the game feels too expensive, we will talk about that after. If the game feels too expensive, then they don't want to be spend money in it, especially right now and how the industry is. Investment are is quite hard. So remember the next time I will have to put up my microphone. Sorry about that again. What it was, yes. So remember that you are competing. You are competing with a lot of people, and money is tight for everyone, and no one wants to do charity. So next, USP, unique selling points. If you don't know what a unique selling point is, what the game, why is the game unique? If you haven't seen Jay's talk yesterday, I think it was yesterday, check it out. He also talked about what something is unique. How do you do that? So go check it. I think it's worth it. And anyway, so you always have to answer, why would someone prefer your game over other game? Why should I invest my effort, money, and time in your team instead of another team? And USPs or unique selling points, it's a need. It's, you really need to put them there. Remember that not everyone is seeing your game, or not everyone is seeing your pitch live. So if I get a paper with your game, I need to understand why it's unique, and why is this mechanic something more interesting or more powerful or more hooking, I guess is the word, than another. So yeah, and they can be shows in different ways. Some teams show it like, my game is a mix of this and this, and it's like, chan, this match making heaven, or like, my game is so unique that this mechanic doesn't exist, or blah blah. Never say that, by the way, because everything is there out. Like, even if you don't know that someone is making the thing that you're doing, someone is making it. So never assume that what you're doing is extremely unique and like you're the only person in the world that thought about it, because usually that's not the case. Sorry, but it's the truth. So you have to be able to say why it is unique, and be certain that someone else might be doing it. So you have to do it better than them. Hard, but yeah. Basic. So another basic thing is the game loop. Why it's important to have the game loop is so anyone that don't see the game, that don't see a GIF, don't see a video, can understand what is the player doing here. So you have to explain the mechanic, and not just stating like why they are interesting or new. Like, oh yeah, these mechanics can build. I don't know, if you talk with someone about Power or about any other game, you always start saying, oh yeah, this is like Stardew Valley but with, I don't know, guns or whatever. It's a way of explaining things where you add a mechanic or a specific thing that make it different. But usually a game loop will be like actual loop, where you say, okay, the players start with, I don't know, with one Pokemon, and then you have to like go around, get more, uh, level them up, go to gyms, and keep fighting. So a game loop will be like the whole game experience. So player start in A, goes to B, goes to C, goes to D, and then the cycle start over. And so that's the game loop. It's the cycle of the game. Even if it is like a narrative game, you can say a game loop will be starting this scenario, taking A, B, C decisions, and then going to, for example, this other scenario, taking A, B, D, C decisions, then other scenarios. So it has a loop. It always has a loop. So it's important to understand what is the loop. What is the player doing? Sorry. Yes. So the player journeys and the game's hook. Why is important to have a hook? Because if the game doesn't have a hook, then a publisher or investor will not be that interested in it, mostly because it's like, how do I keep the people playing this game? If you play it 5 minutes and then you get bored of it, then it's not good enough. I have seen some studies, I guess. There was one, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the page, but there's a very nice page that do analytics on games and on testing and Q&A. I will try to find it, but yeah. One of these studies planted that if your team is not playing like half an hour of your game and want to keep playing after half an hour, then the game is not hooking enough. So think about it. If you're playing your game and you notice that 15 minutes after playing you don't want to keep playing, then it's a bad sign. So keep that in mind. And yeah, try to people to, like, if you are showing your game to your friends, ask them how much time did they play without suggesting that they should play more than half an hour, so you get like an actual number of how much people is enjoying it. It's not always the case, but it happens, and makes the sound when it turns off. So yeah. Art. The art is always the first approach to a game, from the publisher to investors and anyone who doesn't know or the game. If your art is not compelling, it won't sell. Compelling here means showing the artistic goals of the game and demonstrating that the team can actually achieve them. Why did I read all that? Because I think that's exactly what it is. If your game looks awful, then people won't be attracted to it. And awful is not subjective here. It's like it has to look professional. Even if it is like just sticks, like you have seen games about sticks and you think it's awesome because it looks professional. And so that's the important thing, that whatever you are doing, it has to look kind of finished, at least on the pitch or somewhere where you are showing your game. You need to show that you are able to provide that art. If not, you can say like, yeah, I can make this amazing art like Square Enix does, and then you won't be able to deliver, and that will be awful for you and anyone that's investing in you. So be honest about that and try to figure out why your game is looking good and show that. References and audiences. So here the audience is, it's like the people that it's building. Sorry, the audience will be here, the people that the game is being built for, if that makes sense. So you have to explain the game as I said before. My game is a mix between A and B, and show references if needed, or game mechanics as well. And the game audience will be gender, what kind of other games they play, what drives them, or what interests they do have besides games. For example, cozy games always comes with, oh yeah, these people like cozy games, and also like they have a lot of plants and they love cats and dogs and pets, and they are like love reading, and so you have an idea of what these people drives for, or like what this is these people like aiming for to have, or what do enjoy doing. In that way you understand what things in your game can be built for them specifically. So for example, a very nice example is when games put like a pet the dog button, like it doesn't do anything else than pet the dog. And how amazing is to pet a dog in a game? It's amazing. So you know that there are certain, I'm that kind of public, so, or audience, so yeah, it works for me at least. Probably there are people that doesn't care about petting dogs in games, but I do care a lot. So if you game have it, then you have me half in. But yeah, that's kind of the thing that I'm referring to. If you know that your audience love pet the dog button, then add a pet the dog button. Add a dog there, add a pet, or something where the player can feel that interaction or have that thing that you know they like them. And benchmark, yeah, this is the numbers thing. It's awful to do, but you have to do it, because you need to know. You need to know how far you are, and what is considered to be successful, and what is not being successful. Sorry, and also what is average. Like, doing average is not something bad in video games. If you can get all of your money, the invested money back, that's at least something that didn't got you to red numbers. So better than red numbers, I guess. So not every publisher needs market research. Mostly they will do it themselves, and usually they will do it. They have teams for market research. They have companies. They have like all of the resource. We do market research too if you need that kind of service. Sorry to put the I don't know, marketing there anyway. But you have to know the competitors that you will have, which one are the games that you think are similar to yours, and like how much money have they done, or if you can get and put that kind of information in the pitch, they will also be like, oh yeah, so this person knows what it's talking about, or understands the at least the scenario for this kind of game, which is important. So if you are adding comparables, like if you are adding, like I'm making, I don't know, this cozy game, so you add Stardew Valley, which will be like a very successful game. Then you add another game that might be not that successful, like could be on the average numbers, and then another one that flopped for some reason, and put there why do you think it flopped, or at least know to yourself why do you think it flopped. Like this game did this wrong. Maybe they didn't do enough marketing. Maybe they didn't like, I don't know, reach out to the right audience or whatever. But it's important that you know it so you don't commit the same mistakes. So team and marketing, as I was saying, marketing is something important. And yes, you have to market your team. At this point, everything counts. Everything. Like just the game, but also your team matters a lot, lots. So you have to say how much experience what each one of them have, how much experience do you have together. You have to have a portfolio or somewhere some kind of text saying all of your achievements or something that you have built together. Like if it is not your first game, then you can say, yeah, this is like our blah 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 game, and the previous one was this one. Add links, add screenshots, and all of the achievements. Like we were showcased in this event, even if it is a small event. If it is the only event you were showcased, add it, because it's better than nothing. Especially when you are just entering the industry and when you are just entering like getting out of the university, college, or whatever studies you made. It's important that you set something positive about your team around the game or around the industry. Also, if you have experienced members or they have worked with important companies or with companies that I don't know, they have their own games and for some reason they leave or they leave just to make your game or whatever, you add them. Oh yeah, this is a previous Blizzard person or a previous, I don't know, excellent company or important company or AAA or AA or whatever it was. You add it because that's important. So also gives you a lot of more credibility, and when you are going to put money into someone's hands, you want to believe them, you want to believe in them, you want to believe in the team, you want to believe in the game. So the more believable, the more credibility you can give to yourself, the better. And if you have any social media, wishlist, community, Discord, only mention it if it is a good number. What would be a good number? I think over 5,000 on Instagram, it's a good number. Mostly because that's when you kind of start getting the marks and stuff. And also to have already a track community, it's easier for the publisher or easier for the investor to understand that people is driven to this game or that you have found already the community or the right target for the game because you have already like all of these community backup for saying. So yeah, that's important to mention. If you have like, I don't know, 100 followers, then that's not good enough. Just saying. And the current state and roadmap. This is kind of basic, but you need to let the people know where you are at. How much time have you spent doing this? How much time have your team spent doing it? Or how far are you like in the goals of the game? I will show you some examples by the end of the lecture or the talk, and you can see how it is portrayed. But yeah, you have to have also like the future goals of the game, include updates, DLCs, or anything that the future might bring for your game, or anything that you think that can make the game bigger or better. Add it. Like, yes, this is like the basic game. This is what we're thinking on DLCs, or this is where we are, and so on and so on. So after that, the needs. Please always put what you need there. I will not guess what you need if you don't add it. You need to know how much money you want. That's basic. You need to know what kind of help you want. If you need money at all, if you want marketing, if you want Q&A, if you want porting or whatever you want, add it because we can have a meeting and you can tell me all of these things about your game, and then I will have other 10-minute meetings and I will forget what you asked for because they will also be asking for things. They will be requesting money, requesting Q&A, or asking just for the contacts to whatever company to do this other thing. So that's can happen. So if you don't have it there, people will forget. And also, if you don't know it, then asking will be much worse. Like, I can't take anyone serious if they don't know how much money they need to build a game. You need to know how much money you need to run your company, how much money do you need to build your team, and that they can work fairly and very well compensated for the work that they do. So at it. Yeah, now I'm taking the the opportunity to drink water meanwhile these things turn off. And contact, basic, very important. Some people don't add their contact info to the pitch. I don't know why they do that, but they do it. So I always say, guys, put the contact somewhere, anywhere, but put it, add it. Because you don't know when, for example, if I get a game that I think it's not maybe for my clients or it's not maybe for our clients or whatever, I said, oh, I have a friend in this blah, blah, blah company, and maybe they want it. This is the exact game they're looking for. So I send a pitch to them. And if the contact is not there, they won't be able to reach out directly, which makes awful for everyone. Or if you are doing like a pitch session and I don't know, no one knows you there, and you talk about your game, everyone is excited, but you don't have your contact information, then it will be make it hard for them to reach out to you. So just skip this, make it easier for everyone and yourself. So if you want help, make it easier to get the help to you. So yeah. So yeah, include email, important links, web page, ways to contact, your name. Your name is important. Yes, there are some times that people only put like their company name, and I'm like, what was this name, this guy's name or this girl's name? I don't remember. And then I'm like, hi, skipping the name of people. It's very, very uncomfortable. I want to know your name, and I don't, sorry, I won't always remember your name. So please add it. It's not nothing against you guys, but when you are seeing a lot of pitch, a lot of people, you forget the names. And yes, happens. Differences between publishers and investors. This is something important because most people don't really understand why would you would go to a publisher and why would you go to an investors. So if you're new to the industry, a publisher will be like this company that publishes the game. Sometimes they invest in the games, not always, but it is like the bright logo when you start the game. Usually is the first one, and then it comes the developers one, and that's the publisher. It's the one that makes the marketing, it's the one that brings you like all of the people to your game because they have a community and they know, like, they have a marketing team, they know how that to handle those things. An investor will be someone that puts money in your team or in your company only, or in the things that you need only. They wouldn't be taking care of marketing, they wouldn't be taking care of things that you probably need, but they will be taking care of you and your company so you can make those things. So um, I will start reading them point by point. So usually a publisher not always provide funding, and that's important because sometimes they can't provide funding, but a deal would be, for example, if you can find the funding for your game, I will give you Q&A and marketing, for example. And that will mean that you can go to an investor to ask the money, and then you have like a, I don't know, partnership with the two of them, which is not something bad. They can offer services such as marketing, localization, Q&A, porting, but none is mandatory. Sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't do it. So ask if they can make it or not. And if they can't provide it, then you have to figure out how to deal with that. If you don't know how to make porting, which is one of the hardest things to do, honestly, is the thing that everyone struggles with mostly, then figure out if you can add numbers to the budget so you can get a porting company, or if you can ask for, I don't know, any contact that can provide porting or something like that, then beware. They have a specific targets audience mostly, and that's easy to find. And they have many options. Like, there's a lots of publishers. You can find them. We have a list of publishers. If I didn't mention it yesterday, I'm going to mention it anyway. We have a list of publishers. We also have a list of investors in a web page. So yeah, if you go to indiegame.business.com, you can find some of the resources and the event that we're building. And I will give you like the um, URL by the end of the talk. Investors. So the investors is always focused on earnings and growth, and it's open to funding and do business with the studios. So this means that they don't care much about the gameplay. Publisher will care about the gameplay, but the investor is like, "Yeah, what is your game about? Oh yeah, but how much money will you have after releasing this game? That's the question. How much money can I make with your game? And that's because they don't do charity. No one does. Like everyone wants to get money. Even you should want to get money out of your game. That's the like it's not the reason why you're building a game, but you should want to, I don't know, thrive is the word, like um, I don't know, you want your company to succeed with your game because that's something that you love doing and also involves getting money from it. So you have to face that. If you don't like money, then find someone that can deal with money in your team, or that want to talk about money, or that can give numbers and sales data and market research, benchmarks. All of those things is something that an investor will ask you. And it will ask you also a proven trajectory. Usually investors ask as well, like 2 or 3 years of your company's listings in numbers. Like, can you give me like the 3 years of taxes of your company or something like that? Not taxes, but like the review of numbers of how you have been dealing these last 2 years. Usually they will go with the most stable companies. So finding an investor when you are starting is very, 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 very difficult. It's hard. It's very hard because you're not competing only with games on this time. You're also competing with technology, with health and education, and a lot of other things that investors are interested in, not only games. Even the technology ones are also interesting, like even like the ones that invest in games, they will be like a publisher seeing like many, many games, but also caring about, okay, how long has been this company running for, or like all the trajectory and so on. And usually investors tend to look for teams that are ready to expand, meaning that they want to grow as any company, they want to keep hiring, they want to keep like making it bigger for any reason. If they want to become a double A company, a triple A company, that's something that investor will be get more interested in, because that's something that will like get them more money in the future. So yeah. And also it's valid if you don't want that. Important here, if you don't want to really make your team bigger, that's okay. So you can live with that. If you can make a business with a small team and you're fine with that, that's perfect. Don't ever feel like you need to, I don't know, for any reason you need to like think of your company being bigger and bigger, and yeah. So if you are fine with a small team, then that's perfectly fine. So as I was saying, a publisher is more interested in game mechanics and the art, the story, the team, the experience, marketing, the network. You do an usual pitch to a publisher is like the basic pitch that I was talking before, and also the revenue share. A revenue share is when you earn an amount of money, and then the publisher also get uh, the money. They will get the money first, usually, or they will get a bigger amount of the percentage of the money that you want to get. For example, if you get $1, then that dollar will be divided in, I don't know, 70% of that dollar will go to the publisher, and then the rest will go to you. So yeah, that deal is the usual deal with publishers. It's not always the deal. Like usually they offer that, but it's not always the deal that is signed. So you have to be aware of what do you want to sign for. And investors, as I was saying before, they care much more about numbers. They care much more about the competition, about the other games that are out there, how much money can they make, the projections of the game, and why is a good business for both of you. Why is this game going to bring them or make them more rich? Yes, you have to think like that. Sorry, but you have to. And also, they do a recap, which is more aggressive than the publishers. So they will not give you any money until they do the recap and gain some extra, and then you will get money. And some of them are very more aggressive, like they will want to recap in a higher number. Like some of them are asking you for, okay, when I get twice the money, I will start paying like the gains that you got from the game. And some other is like, yeah, no, I will want to like gain 10 times this or whatever, and then you can get the money. So you have to really be aware of that relationship. You have to be aware of that contract. Talk with a lawyer. Never like assume things. Never assume anything. So I'm constantly bleaching, and why it's not working. So if you are new in the industry and you have been showing your pitch to everyone and no one is answering, no one is getting interested in your game, there are many reasons that could that happened. um, some of them, like the rejected meetings, it's the 20% of the time is the pitch. So if your pitch is not well built, if I see the pitch first and I don't like it, I will probably reject the meeting. Because yeah, I want to have a meeting with someone that I think it will be successful, or something that I think I believe in. Like, I believe this game can be amazing, or I believe that this is a very interesting story, or I believe whatever. Then I will accept the meeting. If not, then I will just skip to email. I will request a meeting after the event, because that's usually where the meetings happened, on events or conferences and so on. Some other reasons of why the rejected meeting happens is the game or the document you send, it doesn't look professional. If your document don't really look professional, I think you are not professional. It's not a judgmental thing. It's something that as I said, I'm a graphic designer. I studied that. So if I see it and it looks ugly and the game looks ugly, I will be like, oh no, thank you. I want to go to something that looks better. It happens with me. This is a personal thing. I'm not sure if that happens with everyone, but for me, it's very important. So yeah. It's not what I'm looking for. Most of the publishers have an audience, as I always say, and having an audience, that means that you have specific things that you're looking for in terms of looks, mechanics, colors, whatever. If it is not what I'm looking for, I will reject it. Like, I'm looking for RPGs, or I'm looking for cozy, sweet games with only pink-ish whatever, then I will reject anything else that's not that. Okay. The attitude or treatment during the invitation wasn't favorable. I mean that. Sorry, but I have had some meeting requests where people is not polite, or where people is like implying that I'm not important in the company. I'm laughing saying this because it's so ridiculous. But if someone says like, "Can you bring this to your boss?" I will be mad and I will not accept them. So even if the game is good, I don't want to work with someone that says that, you know? So don't be a bad person. Don't be like unpolite. Don't be unprofessional. If you skip the meeting several times and you don't care, that's also like saying you don't care much about your work. You don't care like the time of other people. So be aware that it's important. That attitude or that treatment is important. It matters. The pitch is not interesting as also a reason, like if I see it and it's a generic whatever game, I will just reject it. It's generic, it doesn't cut my attention, it doesn't have any hook, so bye. Yeah. I already have that contact. It's also something that happens. Some people request meetings even though they already know me, even though we have meeting before. And if I don't have the time to meet with them again, I will just not accept the meeting. Because I already met them. I can like request a meeting any other time beside that conference. If I do have the time, I will accept the meeting because it's always nice to catch up with people. And usually hanging out with devs is fun. So I will accept that meeting anyway. And the other 7% of why people reject meetings, or at least it's the game. So if it's not what I'm looking for, is if it is like unclear, it's not very finished or polished, If it is not interesting, if it is not a good game, like if the game is not fun, if it doesn't look fun, I will reject the meeting. Sorry, but I want a fun game. I'm a gamer like you are. So if the game is not fun for me or for whoever in the team that sees the games, and even if it is not my kind of game, and if I show it to someone that it is his kind of or her kind of game, they will be like, oh no, this looks awful. It's next. Sorry, it's true. Socioeconomic context is something that you will reject as well if the game is extremely expensive and you see it and you say, like, if this is, sorry to say this, but if it is a game made in Europe and it costs 3 million, and you know that someone else can make the exact same game for half the money or even less in some other part of the world, then I don't want to work with something that will cost more for the product that I will be receiving, if that makes sense. If it has low quality, and that means like if it looks again unpolished, if it looks unprofessional, even when you are like early in development, there are ways of making your game look good. And if it is too early on development, I will say so. I will told you this game is too early in development yet for what we're looking for. So please just talk to me after. And that's not a bad thing. That's all actually good because I'm interested, but it's not ready yet to like be serious about getting it or whatever. Also, no visible improvements over time. If you show me the same game today as 6 months ago, then that means that you haven't worked in it. Even if you have, and I don't see any improvements, or I don't think that you have really uh, get the feedback that we gave you, then it will be like, oh no, these people is not serious, or yeah, it needs time and it needs work. And also, finally, not aligning with the publishing preferences. If it is something extremely different from what I'm looking for, what you should do is study publishers. I know there are like 5 or 6 or 10 that you can think of immediately that you say, like, yes, I want these guys, these guys, these guys, these guys. But guys, there's like a list of 700, I think. I don't know how many publishers we have in that list, but study them. Study what products do they do, what products they give, what is the audience, how do they talk in Twitter or in X or in like in the social media? Are they very serious? Are they like fun, or are they like, I don't know? So study them. Understand if your game is for them and if they will get into it. Because if not, they will reject it immediately and you both will be losing time. How much can I ask for is a very important question that everyone asks when entering into the industry. And to the short answer is never less. Always what you need, and never less. Maybe a bit more even, never less. Some people think that for asking less money, they will get more chances of being receiving the money. That's not true. I will start speeding up because I'm seeing that I'm getting out of time. But yeah, so never ask for less money. You need to know how much money you need and never ask for less. Comparisons with other countries, sorry, but yes, if I know that there's someone in whatever country doing the exact same game that you are and it looks kind of similar or even better, then I will go to the cheaper one. Sorry, sucks. It is like that. Industry context, if things are as they are right now, I won't be able to add money to whatever I want. So it matters. It matters that how is the money going, how is the cash flowing, and like all of the everything. It matters in the context. Like your game might be good, but not good enough. And yeah, publisher values. Yeah, if you're making a game with crypto things or with something that the company doesn't align with, then it's a no. And maybe they won't like tell you that. They will say it's not for us, and that's it. Most people don't really give you feedback. Also, be prepared for that. And this is like my Latin part of it. If I am affected, if I'm from Latin America, yes, you have positive and negatives on this case. The budget values is a positive one because usually we do everything cheaper, and winning dollars in Latin America, it has more value than the actual money in the country, so it's better for the developer. Usually you have a lot of funds and like support for underrepresented people, or locally on international like funds, grants, and also the diversity and the new stories and the new brains you bring to the industry story, being from Latin America or being from any other country that's not very well represented in this industry, is interesting, because we have seen many times very like similar stories, but when you bring something that it's very unique and very from your country or your like experience, then that's something that, oh, this is new, this is interesting, because I haven't seen it before. And sorry to say, but meritocracy doesn't really matter, or not that much. Even if you add like your blood and tears to your game, if you don't have the right contacts, if you don't have the right email, it might not go to the right place. So you have to be aware of doing business. So business dev 101, if you don't know English, which probably you know if you're seeing this lecture, but I did this lecture in Spanish first, so that's why that's there. If you don't know English, you have to learn it. That's how it works. You need to have like business card, business apps, always have your contact on hand, always have a way to people to reach you out, or give them your social media or whatever they can like do for reach you out, email, phone number, I don't know, whatever social media you're using, and people can reach you out, give it, have it in hand, have it like easy and fast. Participate in events, conferences, and activities. If you don't know conferences around the world, there's like a page that's like game conferences or something. I don't remember the name exactly, sorry. But yeah, there are conferences. Gamescom, GDC are the biggest one. But there are others like Digital Dragons. There are like Mix in Canada. There are some in Europe. There are several conferences, so try to participate as much as you can in them, because sometimes contacts are easier made in the smaller conferences than the bigger ones. So also we're doing a conference in February. If you haven't heard that, keep going. So be always nice, always. Even if people is rude with you or mean, you can't afford the luxury of losing contacts, and just be patient, just deal with it. Try to not be mean back. I have had mean responses or answers when I say no to a game before. When I was in the investment company, some people got very warmed up or very stressed by it. And so, yeah, be aware that a bad answer won't give you more contacts. So, yeah. Should I bring gifts to the meetings? Yes, sometimes. I guess it depends on the meaning of the gift. I have get gifts that I still remember, like T-shirts or wine or whatever, and I do remember those things and I care about them, but that doesn't mean that I will accept the game. It's not right. It's not like yeah, I will give you a t-shirt if you give me $500,000. No, sorry. It doesn't work like that, but it will help for them to remember you. So you should do it only if you really like the company, and also if it's like, you know, I I think I made a point anyway. So resources, mostly on English. Everything is in English. Internet is your best friend. Try to make connections by internet, honestly. We have the publishers and investors list, as I said before, so use it. Game Discovery Co. is amazing. If you are not there, subscribe yet, I really recommend it. Alan's game dev resources sheet is also very, look, if you like Google these things, will immediately pop up. And also the GD game job list. If you are looking for a job, if you want to work in the industry before doing your own company, that's the one. So yeah, I was trying to check the link for it, but I can do it so when we are in the questions part of the thing. So I will show you very briefly a pitch, or what a good pitch look like for me. This is a public pitch. This is the pitch of a game called Bear and Breakfast. Obviously, it's a cozy game because that's my type of game. Sorry, but you can find this. You can find the pitch free on Notion. I think the name is Pitch Decks. So yeah, if you Google notion.so/pitch text, you should be able to find it. It's a public list with a lot of pitch that the developers were willing to give to this page, so people had access to it. So this is like the actual pitch they used to pitch the game to investors and publishers. And they started with very brief, like what is going to happen on the pitch, some of the art, and then they go specifically to how the game looks. This is like the first draft of how the game will feel, and that's an elevator pitch right there in the beginning, like a management game, adventure game, where you take care of a cabin in the woods, but you're there. So yeah, that's basically it. But you also like go to different places in the forest, and that's enough to get me invested in it or to get interest from it. So keep going on how is the game development and the prototype. They have a prototype, they tell you that, and how it looks, and like the visuals, and like, remember when I told you like the art was important? So this is very well done because the art here is perfect, or not perfect, but works in a very, very positive way for them. They do a benchmark and they explain the game with the references as like Stardew Valley with Night in the Woods and like Theme Hospital. Like that's the mesh of it. And so if you know those games, or if you are into those games, you will instantly understand what the game's about, how it works, or what are kind of like some of the game mechanics for it. This is like the game loop that I was telling you. They call it player experience. You can call it whatever you want, but you have to like understand what the player does in the game. So that's why important. So you build, you manage, you explore, you repeat. That's it. That's the game loop. It doesn't need to be more like deep than that. That's enough. This is the roadmap. I'm getting like oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, just internally told me like I can like not rush it. So thank you for that. So anyway, I was saying this is the roadmap. Um, the roadmap is supposed to give the person that is seeing the game a very nice idea of where you are in development, because usually when you are pitching, you can be at the beginning of the game, you can be in the middle, or by the end of it. But if you need to tell it, because some people invest, like some investors invest in games very early, like concept stage. That's not usual. That doesn't happen very often, but it happens. And some other prefer to do it just 6 months before the game launches, for whatever reason they have. Some others prefer to have like 1 year before the game launches, so they can prepare the marketing, they can prepare like all of the campaign around the game. So it depends on the publisher or investor on like why does it matter to them, or what matters to them to publish the game or the dates. So that's why it's important. They're right up there, like here you can see my, yeah, you can see it, I think. So here it will be like your month and your year, like, yeah, we started this game 2017, for example, and this is now like 2020 or whatever. And then you start like, I want to load the game by this date, or I don't know, I don't remember when this game was launched, but here it should have been that date. Also, the launch date can be something that you can talk about with your publisher or investors. If you're willing to wait to the launch, it's also important that you mention it, or that you say that you are open to like consider it, because some of them really cares about when the game is going to launch, especially considering that when you do a market research or a sell forecast, there are months that sell better than others, and never launch a game in November. That's it. Well, one of the things that I have learned so far is that November launches don't really go that well. So yeah, if you can launch games, try not to do that in that date. I think it was November. Oh no, I don't want to be lying, but yeah, be aware of that. Some games do badly, not just because the game they get launched, but it might be one of the reasons. So yeah. Anyway, so let's keep going with the roadmap. Pre-production. They say what they are doing on pre-production, like they had the visual design, the loop, the pipeline, prototype, funding, and that's what they were looking for at that stage. Funding. They wanted the funding to keep going on the production and pre-launch and launch and support the game. And they also like had this kind of marketing. I'm not completely sure if they did marketing on their own as well. I didn't follow them through that process, so I'm not sure. But that seems to be like the plans that they have. Like we want to make the announcement in this part of the timeline, and that's important because that means that they had like 1, 2, 3, 4, if these were months, 4 months before launch. So they were building the community 4 months before launching the game, or like tempting the waters 4 months before the game. So the game launch, sorry. So at least you know that you have all of that time to make marketing and to find the right partner, offer it to the right people, or talk with the, I don't know, with the the consoles, or whatever the game is going to launch. If the game is going to be PC and console, they added one console there, which is Switch, I think, because that's like the target audience will prefer to go to in terms of consoles, on game consoles. um, so yeah, uh, if you want to make a multiple launch, it will be harder. So you have to keep that in mind as well. Like doing simultaneous launch in different devices. Yeah, that was the word. It will be hard. It's hard. It's hard to do porting. So take that in mind. If you are just starting your game, please keep in mind the optimization very, very early on development. Try not to go to by the end of the development and realize your game is too heavy for whatever console you want to launch it. Try to do it before. Try to find whatever partner you can to help you to understand how can you optimize the game. Try to find lectures or speakers, or I don't know, events or contacts, or whoever can help you to build better the game for whatever console or place where you want to deliver or launch the game. Do so. Try to investigate as early as possible on that, because as I said, that porting thing is the worst thing that developers go through. It's awful. I have horror stories of that. Yes, it's awful. It's the worst thing ever. So be afraid of it. Now, not be afraid, but prepare for it. Yeah, I think I said that. So yeah. Also here they added localization by the end of the launch or after the launch. That's mostly because some games they do specifically well in some countries that don't speak English, or they will be like good in some countries that don't speak English. Like for example in Chile, I don't know why, but we really really like Japanese stuff. So we consume a lot of K-pop, a lot of otaku things, animes, mangas, I don't know, like Japanese theme things. So usually translating in Spanish, Japanese things going to Spanish here in Chile, it works. We are not the biggest audience ever, but it's something. And if you translate in Spanish, which is you should, because Spanish is, I think, it is one of the most spoken languages in the world. So yeah, like think always English and Spanish. It's like the basic two for me at least. Some others have said like Portuguese is also important because Brazil is a very important market, but I think you should really research if your game will go good in Brazil because they have like a very close thing going on. So this is like the milestones of the team, and this is important because they were telling why they needed the money or why they needed the investment. And so they have already done this. Like they have the visual identity, the core system of the game, which is extremely important to have your core game figured out before pitching, because that way you can pitch better, you understand your game better, you know what you want, you know what you're doing. And that's very important when you pitch, you know what you're doing. I have a meeting once where someone like was asking me questions about their game. So it was very, very weird, but never do that. Like, never go to a meeting asking what they want. You have to know what you want. And if you know what you want, they know what we can give you for it, or at least we can advise you on it. But if you go to a meeting and said, "Do you want us to do a DLC?" It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know your game. It- It's something that you have to answer, not like the other person in front of you. So go there and know your game very, very well, and really, really know what you want. You can't go undecided. If there are like, you don't have decided things yet, try them to be not the most important things of the game. Like, try to decide the core system, try to decide the visual identity, or at least some of the art need to be done. Like, you need to understand what you want before asking for more things, or before asking to someone else to give you money for it. Like, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Like, if someone comes to you and tells you, "I want $1 million for making my game," what kind of games needs to be so you give them that money? What of team needs to be so you say, "Okay, I will give you my $1 million that I have in my pocket." Like, think of that. So yeah, if you that exercise, I know that you will find yourself improving your pitch many times, because you want them to like believe in you and in your team and in your game. Even if your game is amazing, it has to be so amazing that you said, "Yes, I will give all of my money to this game." Even if it's like your baby and you like it and everything, you need to be certain that more people feel that way about your game too. This is the last part of it, the estimated budget. They estimated how much they needed, but they did it with the team, I guess, without knowing. They probably did it with the team that they were having, and also considering people that they will be hiring around the timeline. Because sometimes you start your game with 3 people. In the middle of production, you want to add 3 or 4 or whoever much you want to like be able to make the milestone of building the game 2 years from now, or 1 year and a half, or whatever much time you need to build it. But there you have, like, I want to hire 3 people for this amount of time, or I want to bring to the team for here and forever this amount of people. And that's important. So you have the numbers of your company, like the numbers that you need to run your company, and also the numbers that you need to run their game. These are two different things. Look at Jay's talk from yesterday. He says that too. I think he also gives advice on it. On it, sorry. So yeah, it's different. It's very, very different, and you need to know both numbers. You need to have them rounding in your head. And they also requested for marketing, PR support. They wanted to go to events. They wanted to do online advertising. They wanted help with trailers. Maybe they didn't ask for a porting, or they didn't ask for, I don't know, for example, yeah, they put here like free content, premium DLC, localization, and porting, and they needed support on that, but maybe they didn't need all the support on that. Maybe they had figured out some things, maybe they didn't, but they like put it here, like, we need this is what we really, really want, and this is what like how much we think it costs, or this is how much like companies that we know of have like given us like budget, for example. You can make those estimations as well. You can go to marketing agencies and ask how much does for them cost to do a marketing campaign on a game, or all of the things involved in the marketing of the game, like trailers, or like screenshots, or like a running campaign on ads on somewhere. So yeah, take that in mind. And I will say that you really, really need to keep searching whatever you can search. There's a lot of free information in internet, as I said before. And sorry to keep repeating about our web page, but we have very nice resources. Please know that. So finally, yay, we made it to the end. Not so bad. Not so bad on time. Um, well, I want to invite you to the our 50th annual indie game business sessions. As I said before, this is free, so this is like a two-part event. There's one part going on, which is like the lectures. You will have like amazing people from the industry giving like advices on many different things on games, like legal advices or like community management things or marketing stuff or like licensing or like there's a lot of content there, and then it's really good content. Like you don't, there's most of these people you couldn't get to. Like, please take advantage of this opportunity. I beg you. Then also there's like the part of the business. This is like the meet to match thing. If you have been to conferences before, and if you have like I don't know, participated in game events, there's like a part of the event that's B2B, like business to business. And that's where you usually go to pitch your game. That's where you usually go to find your next partner. If you're looking for services or if you are offering services, you will go to Meet to Match and try to find a meeting there. It's like, if you don't know what Meet to Match is, it's like these systems to like a Tinder of, sorry to say it like that, it's like a Tinder for meetings, for business meetings. It's not like just a no thing, but yeah, you can like figure out what kind of companies are there in the event, and you can read about them, what they are looking for, if you are fit for them, and send them a message, send your pitch before the meeting, and then if they like it, they can have a meeting with you, and then if they get to know you and get to know more of your game, then you get that business opportunity that you need. So all of the information of this event is there in the indiegame.business. If you type that out, it will immediately pop up. If you want to join us in the Meet to Match, if you really need the help to join us in the Meet to Match, send me a direct message. Like in our Discord, I'm Margarita in Powell Group. If you are part of our Discord, find me there. If not, you can find me on LinkedIn. That's my slash LinkedIn thing. You can also send me a message through there. You can send me an email. I'm open to all of those things and happy to like yeah, help you on that or give you some advice for it. And also I'm part of the event in the meeting section. So if you want to meet before the event or if you want to meet during the event, I'm also open for meetings. So yeah. And finally, I will again give you the I will ask for help here to our like background people. So the first link is the donation page. Remember that at the beginning of the lecture I told you um, like to donate to the country because we are being in a very bad place of fires. The second link, it's like the news of the Guardian about it, so you can get more information about that there. And yeah, thank you very much for staying with me this hour and 7 minutes of me speaking, and I hope it helped. And yeah, open for questions. For do publishers or investors trust solo game developers if the game is good, but there is only one person working or making the whole game in terms of getting investment? I would say no. It having like one person is very risky. If you die, what will happen with the money? What will happen with the game? What would happen if you have an accident and you have to be in bed for 6 months? I hope none of those things happens to you, honestly. But it's a tremendous amount of risk to have one solo dev doing something, and I think it's also a tremendous amount of work to have only one person doing the full game. Like, I know that indie devs can be like very work driven, I guess. Like you can work, you can have all of the hats, you can do all of the things, and that's amazing, but you should not always do so. It's a hard lesson, but sometimes you need to have to trust someone to make the work that you can't, or to make a work that can be even better than yours. So I would say if you can find a team, or if you need to say that you are open to hire a team, or at least have someone in business with you. Because as I said, any accident happens and then the game is dead and all of the investment will go to nowhere. So it's very, 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 very risky. I hope that kind of answered. I'm in a team. There are only two of us. If is the team count an obstacle in pitches? It depends. If your team is open to grow, that's perfect. If there are only two of you and you have gone into a very nice place of the development, if I can see the game have developed well enough till that time, then I would say it's not it's not something bad. It still is extremely risky, the same case as before. But if there's only two of you, you need to be able to show that you are able to deliver. Because two people is still very few people for doing a game. So you need to show that you can actually make the game that you are promising to make. So this is the step where you will need to have a prototype or a vertical slice before pitching. And usually right now, publishers and investors are always asking for a prototype before doing anything else. There's almost no one that I know of that is investing in concept only. Like everyone wants to see that you're able to deliver at least a vertical slice or a demo there. In what stage of development are most projects that get a publisher deal? That's a very interesting question. I guess all of them have a prototype or a vertical slice. They have a GDD, like they understand where the game is going. They have like plans for the future. They know what will happen after the game is launched. Like after this game is launched, we will do DLCs. We will do this kind of scenarios. We will evolve the game, this game, like this way or this other way. We will like they know what they want to do. They know how much it's going to cost, and they also have a very specific core systems built. Like they have like a game, you know. Makes sense. Like so I would say after like yeah, I think not pre-production but maybe starting production or very close to start production is a good phase. And in some cases it's also like the other way around, when they are like almost like done, they are very very close to finishing. And also something important to say here, not all publishers will be happy to like give you money back. Some developers ask like yeah, I want to I want you to invest like 250 for my game, but also I want you to invest another 250 because that's what I invested before in the game. Most like maybe you can say that you invested that in the game, but don't ask it back, because it will be very weird if someone said like, oh yeah, you spend this, it's your game, it's your company, obviously you have to spend money in it. So yeah, I hope that answered the question. How much wishlist should my game have to be added to the pitch? I would say this is a personal take on it, but more than 1,000 and up will be interesting enough, I guess. If you don't have social media, if you have social media and you have like 10,000 followers or so, I would expect the wish list to be higher. But that can also be like, I don't know, it can be negotiable, I guess. Like because if you have 1,000 followers and you have done nothing, none marketing whatsoever, then it's a very nice number to have. But if you have done like 3 months of advertising and you got 1,000, then maybe it's not that a good number. I'm not sure if I'm answering the question well, but yeah, I think it depends on how much effort have you put before to get the wishlist numbers. So there are some that comes with thousands, like, and when I say thousands, I'm like 20,000 wish lists or more. So that's kind of like, oh yeah, they have a community. So yeah, it really depends on the case and how much effort have you put before that. If you don't have like a very impressive number, then just don't add it. Said like, yeah, it's available for wishlist, but we are like going to make a campaign for it or whatever, or like we want to have a publisher to make a campaign for the wishlist because we don't know how to do it, and that's fine. It's fine if you don't know how to do it. But if you are building the community and the community is answering, like if you have like, yeah, 1,000 wish lists, but also like 5, 10,000 people in your Discord, then you have a community. So that's impressive. Is there any trick to save your ideas from being stolen when sending pitch text or GTDs? Okay, so no one's going to stop your Sorry, but this is something that happens, especially when you are starting. You think that everyone wants to steal your work or your idea because your idea probably is amazing, and that's great. But you don't really have the time or the money to be stealing people's idea. I know that this has happened with very specific places in the world or companies in the world, but it's not usual that someone steals you. It's not usual that someone like wants to steal your idea, not only because they risk themselves like to be, I don't know, instead, or like to have a very bad company view. Like as a company, you never want to be seen as the bad guy, especially if you want to people to buy from you. So there are some ways of protecting your ideas, like not the idea actually. The ideas are not protectable, at least here in my country. I know that you can protect like the GDD, you can put it under registration, you can put under like the brand and the art and the music. The game mechanics are not protectable. I think they are like open. Um, but yeah, you can like show off that you made this idea before, like having social media open and saying like, I did this before you, so I think you stole my idea or whatever. But it's not usual that happens, because why would someone steal your idea if they can make their own idea? I'm not sure if you're under like seeing where I'm going with that. If you have $1 million to make an idea, why would you do someone else's idea? It's like you will do your own idea if you could, I guess. Or that's like, uh, I know most people in the industry see it. And remember that you are competing with thousands of other games. So if probably someone has a better idea than you, and if I'm going to steal an idea, I will want to steal the best idea ever, and that might not be always your idea. So keep in mind that usually that don't happen. Really doesn't happen. I have seen it like maybe once or so, and in a very specific uh, thing that happened. But yeah, it's not very usual. But if you really want to make sure, then check out your like author, I think, copyright laws in your country and see if they can protect the game anyway, like the art, or like you can also protect the narrative of the game. You can protect like the text, you can protect like the characters, like everything that's written or that can be wrote, that can be protectable, at least here in my country. But yeah, um, I guess that will be. If you're a solo developer and you're good at developing but really not into business, how do you find a partner or employee who can take care of business side of things when you're just starting? Okay, so there are different answers for this one. If you are a zero developer and you want to find someone that you can like deal the business with you, there are agents, there are agencies, there is us, there is like you can also hire someone, you can also find someone that you know it's good at business development that can help you. There's also like for example, I know some companies do the agency work for the developers they want to work with. For example, they take the game, like something we do with in partnership with representing games is that they represent the developer. We do some scouting for them. So if we find a game that we believe it's interesting for them to represent, um, we will give them to them, and they will be working with the developer to find a publisher or investor in the game. But again, as I said, as solo developers, it's very, 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 very risky. So it's not something easy to be done. I will suggest, if you can find a partner or someone that believes as much as you in the game, to work with you and like do production or do business development or so on. That can also work. There are some agencies that work on a fee number, a fixed fee. There are some that also, like your government, could help you some way. I know that there are some pitch sessions organized by government. There are also some publishers slash investment companies, or publishers slash, yeah, I guess investment is the right word, that can like take your game, invest in it, and help you find the right partner for it, or the next amount that you need for it. But yeah, it's, as I said, solo development, it's very, very, very hard. So uh, yeah, I hope that answered. How to get publishers' attention while pitching for the game. So the first thing is that they don't know you, and that's always a good thing. If they don't know you, or if they don't know about the game, they will probably want to know more about the game. Needs to be good enough for them to care. So I would say like the first step is having a very, very nice pitch, have very nice art, or have very interesting game mechanics. It doesn't have to be done. Like when I say that has very nice art, at least one key art or something similar to it, it would be good enough. I have seen pitches where the prototype is boxes, and that's fine. Or the prototype is very, very early and not polished, and that's also fine if the game is very interesting. So I guess the game has to be able to stand by itself. You can like cut attention by with art, you can cut attention with game mechanics, or with community, or um, whatever, those kind of things. But you need to have a very solid idea for them to care. And also, as I said before, it has to be built for their audience. If you are going to pitch a shooter game to Annapurna, who doesn't really do shooters, maybe it's not the right publisher for you. It doesn't mean that you're not going to find a publisher. It only means that that's not the target that you're looking for. So you need to really know your target audience as well. So you have to find a publisher that has kind of the same values that you have, or has the same audience that you want to reach out. And that's a way of getting in their attention, or at least on their loop. And remember that when you're going to a conference or to an event, there's thousands of developers in the same spot that you are, and maybe their pitch looks better, maybe the game looks better, maybe the game is more interesting, it has more interesting mechanics. So sometimes it's just it's not that the game is not good, it's just like you're competing with so much people that it gets clustered, and you can't really like see everyone at every time. And also, another thing to mention under that note, sometimes they have waiting list, like, okay, we can check your game, but we will like deliver it in 3-4 years more. Because they are so busy, or they have so many games on list that it won't be ready until like 2027 or something. That's when they can like start like really developing the game or whatever. So you have to be open, or thinking that something that like that can happen as well. If they are very, very interested, maybe they can rush it. I don't know. It will depend on the publisher, but yeah, make a very nice game, make a very nice pitch. Like the pitch is the entry. And if you have like social media, if you have like a web page, or all of those things that can give you more credibility, that's also important. Which time I started marketing my game? So I would say 6 months before launch. But it depends on your team really. If you have like, if you're very indie and you just want to see what the people is thinking about the game, share as soon as you can. Not when it's not develop it well enough so people can't understand what's going on. Like, don't share boxes, but do share like the early development, figure out if people is interested in it. If you get any traction from your gifts in social media, that's something that you can go with a publisher. Like, yes, this game is in early stage, we are just on prototyping phase, or we are on vertical slice phase, not finished there, and that's also okay. But people is showing interest, and that's sorry, and that's a very nice thing for you, because uh, that can actually uh, show the publisher that there's an audience for the game. But again, remember that numbers needs to be good, needs to be impressive. Like, my 5 friends like my game, it's not enough. It's not enough. You have to have nice numbers for that. So yeah, 6 months if you are like ready to launch or close to launch. If not, if you're very indie, if you are starting, I would say after pre-production you can start showing some things to figure out what people is thinking, and start building a community around it, and also be very specific with your target audience. Remember that since you're competing with many 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 games, try to find the audience that fit your game better. For example, if you have an horror game, go find where the horror people hang out. Like, go to Reddit and figure out what you can go and figure out what are they playing. You can figure out what are they doing, and what is their driven, or what is like the fashionable game right now, or whatever. And then you start like introducing yourself there in that very niche specific place, and then starting building from there, because some communities are very very close but very nice. So for example, horror, I know that many horror players love the horror games, like love them, and they follow them through in the infinity and beyond. So they are very nice community to have around, and they will give you very honest feedback on your game. So find the right place for the community. If you're doing like a wholesome game, maybe go to the wholesome games community, find out what they are doing, or try to make a partnership with them. Like, find the niche places to start building your community, because there is where they are. If you like drop your marketing thing to just Twitter or to Facebook or Instagram or whatever, maybe no one is going to get there, because you are not getting to the right people. You are just throwing away. It's like, if I shout something in my window right now, maybe someone will hear it, but no one will answer. But if I shout it like in the face of my boyfriend, or like in the face of my friends that I know that they will like this, probably they will shout back. So yeah, sorry the example, but I think it worked. I'm a game developer living in the UK 7 years, but originally from Mexico. In terms of consulting, do you have any insights about Latin American markets? Oof. That's a nice question. So Latin American markets right now are thriving in a way. Like, right now, publishers are looking more into Latin America because of the cost of making games, and also because we have grown in time as a business. So, for example, I don't know, 15 years ago, it wasn't usual to find someone that made a game in Latin America. At least in Chile, we had a lot of people saying, like, the first video game made in Chile, even though we have been doing games in like 20, 25 years ago. So right now, people is becoming more aware of the Latin American market, and publishers are paying a little bit more of attention to the Latin American conferences. For example, right now, Gamescom owns big festivals. That was the conference that happened in Brazil. That is still happening in Brazil, but they kind of like got it from themselves, because it was like the most important in Latin America. So you know that they are like looking to Latin America right now, and also that means that you have a lot of competition that they don't know of. So I would say the market is nice for Latin America, but it's also very risky for all of the reasons. It's risky in everywhere else. Sorry, and also because we are cheaper, sadly. we can make a game very very cheaply, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because you can obviously like charge uh, less money or less of what they expect to make a game, but also means that you wouldn't be winning the enough money or like the right amount of money or the money that they will pay someone in Europe to do so. But also here, I'm delivering, sorry. Also here means that here we have a different experience with games than Europe. Like in Europe, they have Ubisoft, they have like very big universities giving the, I don't know, lectures and giving like the all of the information, like teaching the students the right things in art, in game design, in all of those things. And we are a bit behind on that matter. So yes, they are looking with to Latam. They are searching to do business here, but also very carefully, because we don't have the exact same experience that they have in Europe or in the US. I hope that kind of answers the question. So yay, I think that's it. Or do I have? Oh, it might be a silly question, but if I get an email saying there are publishers interested in investing in my game, how do I know if they are genuine or some scammers? So it's not silly, actually. I think it's a very valid question to make. Never think that your questions are silly or not valid or random or whatever, because if you're new in the everyone started somewhere, everyone started without knowing things, so don't push yourself down. And yeah, so if someone says that they're interested in your game, find out who this person is. Find out, ask them their name, ask the web page, like, oh yeah, that's great. Can you give me information about your business? Can you give me like your web page? Can I see some examples of the game that you have worked with? Or like, what other games have you been releasing lately? Or so on and so on. I'm a biz dev, and I put that I'm a biz dev in all of my social media, in my email print, I guess. I do tell people that I looking for games, that I want to scout games or I want to scout with studios, and I do it so very publicly so they know that I'm being serious. Because some of them don't even answer, because obviously they think, oh yeah, you're coming to offering me money. Who does that? Some people does, like me, or scouting people. Like if someone reach out and ask for your game, at least give them the chance, uh, like have a meeting with them and make all of the questions, like how do you usually work, what is your pipeline, can you show me like a burning contract or like an example of a contract that you deal with, like be trustful but not that trustful. Like try to figure out who these people is and talk with someone, or figure out if someone else worked with them and ask them, like, have you worked with this person? Do you know who they are? Search for the LinkedIn contacts that are related to that page. Because if they are doing a scam with the game and they are doing a very big scam with the game, it will be hard to figure out if it is real or not. Uh, and I'm wondering how will this scam be? Like, you think they will like ask for the game without paying for it? It will be weird anyway, because doing like, I don't know, launching a game is very very hard. And if you think that, like, I'm thinking the case would be like they want your game to steal it, I guess. Because for me it wouldn't make sense if someone doesn't really believe in your game or don't want to do anything to do with the game, wouldn't like really reach out to scam you. But I don't understand how they could scam you if you're looking for money. So it's like a very I don't know, hard thing to answer. But yes, just be sure that you are dealing with serious people. Search for them, look for them in whatever you can, Google them. And yeah, I think that's one last one. Cool. What platforms would you recommend for selling indie games? I would say Steam is the easiest one, mostly because you can like put your game there without many obstacles. Um, I would say Switch is a very, very nice console for indie games, but it depends on the genre. Because some games do very nicely in Switch, but also doing games for Switch is a bit hard. So porting porting is a nightmare. You can say that I'm traumatized by porting right now, but yeah, I think Steam is always going to be something interesting for you if you can do like other kinds of stores, like um, what was the name of this? GOG, I think it was. Also, each IO, I know they have like a lot of games that are like indie, very indie games, and you can like publish there and get donations for the game and get some feedback of the game as well. So if you are like only doing your first launch and you are not looking to earn much money back from the launch, you can do it in each IO, and that will give you some feedback of the community, and that will also like kind of give you an idea of what the people thinks about your game, and also give you like some of the portfolio that you need to be believable. Like if I can see like you have like 3 5 games in each IO, I know that at least you have released something somewhere. And Steam also charges you for releasing games. So if I see a game that's in Steam, I know that you invested money in it and that you invested in being there, being having your game in Steam also for like when you are pitching is also very nice, and giving keys for people to like test it and see the updates of the game and everything is also very nice. As someone that tests games every day, I prefer to have them on Steam because I can like manage them better and not just receive like a zip file. um, Also, if it depends on the reasons why you're publishing the game mostly, but yeah, I think Steam and itch.io, depending on which way do you want to go, it will be like the best to do. And I think that's it, unless there's any other question that missing. Thank you. I really appreciate the comment. Is there something we can do as developers to make the porting process my trauma reach you? Sorry. For example, utilizing assets tools to in Unity. I don't know what if that. I don't know if it is that. I'm traumatized. Like I had issues with one game at some point where it was awful. Like it was so awful. Porting was the worst nightmare. And I know some friends that work in games also had nightmares with porting. So I'm not sure if there are tools in Unity for porting games, but I do know that optimizing your game is the most important thing. Try to make it as light as possible. Try to make it like also something important to do is the control. Is it control the name of it? Like, uh, sorry, I got nervous. Yeah, you need to have all of the ways of the game is going to be playable, all of the kind of controls devices that is going to be used. You have to set them up from the beginning. So that's why important that you know your game at like when you're starting like programming and everything. Remember that you will have to move this control, like the keyboard control, to an actual control, to a switch control, to a PS control. So try to find out those things as well, because control like binding, I know that's something people struggles with too. I'm not a programmer, so I'm sorry I can't give you like an actual place to go to ask these things. um, but probably if you ask in the Unity forums or in the Epic forums, or like specialized places where people develop games, like communities, Reddit probably is a good one too. I think you can get more accurate information, because I know only of my trauma being a producer, but I'm not a programmer, so I can't really give you an assertive answer on that one. Sorry. So yeah, that's it. Woohoo, we made it. Thank you for being here with me. And for all of your questions. It was great that actually people see the lecture. So I'm really happy about that. I hope it helped. And I really, really hope that all of your business and your games are being released and launched and find whatever you're looking for. And if not, that the next one, remember always having a plan C, D, E, F, all of the games. Don't always focus on one. Try to have more ideas just in case, so you don't die in the process. So yeah. Remember that we're doing this lecture, like this event in February. Join us, follow us. You can follow us in social media. You can find us in Discord. I really recommend the Discord, because also before I forget, sorry, we do pitch sessions in our Discord. We have two amazing people like reviewing the pitches, giving you feedback on the pitches. So if your doubts are about the pitches, come to Discord and join the pitch sessions, because they are amazing, and they get honest feedback from someone, so from people that have experience in the industry, watching pitches and everything. It's not me, it's other people that it's more amazing or have more experience than I have. So take advantage of that opportunity. And yeah, please find us in February. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure to talk to you, even though I didn't see you anywhere. But yeah, I hope you have an amazing whatever you're having, or whatever you are, day, night, evening, whatever year. Awesome. Thank you so much. And see you around. I hope to see you in the event. Bye.